I'm going to show you how I make my snowmen out of these Dollar Tree Christmas decorations. First I start off, I take the tinsel off of this, and these are a dark color. Most of them are dark green, so what I do is I paint them with white chalk paint, and it seems to cover them pretty well. I have a couple done here because I've been selling these like crazy. And this is, I only paint up to here because we're going to cut this off. So this way it's kind of see-through. So this way you don't see that dark base. So the first things you want to do is take your nippers here and you cut opposite sides all the way down to that ring. And then this one you're going to go up above that one notch and cut, because that's going to help hold on. You could throw this piece away. It's going to help hold the styrofoam ball that we're going to put inside of here to hold the snowman head on. And this is the snowman head, and you can get this at the Dollar Tree. Now, the mesh that I'm using, you can get similar mesh at the Dollar Tree. Good luck if you can find it at your Dollar Tree this year. I didn't find much. So I had some left over from Christmas last year from Michael's, which was weird because I went to Michael's to buy more and they don't even have, my Michael's didn't have any mesh this year for Christmas. Not sure why that was. So anyways, so you won't need that right now. So for the base, what you're going to do, and I have one started here, is you're going to take your mesh. Now, I used this longer one, 9" by 6 yards, for the bottom piece, but you can use the whole roll for the whole thing. But I had some of the smaller mesh left over, so I'm going to use this for my top part and this for my bottom part. This way I get more out of my mesh rolls. But it doesn't matter. I mean, Dollar Tree sells this. I think I use a roll. Maybe a roll and a couple pieces. And these rolls are 6 yards. So I'm not sure what Dollar Trees are. I don't have one right here with me. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're going to actually cut 11 of pieces of mesh. That's what I counted. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12. However many you need to put in between this. Okay? Simple. Okay, so I have one started. Oh, and I cut my mesh roll. I cut these about anywhere from 18 to 19 inches long. Same for the top part. So what you're going to do, and I've already started this, so I will start another one just to show you. So you're going to take your mesh, piece of mesh, and you're going to scrunch it in the middle. And then you're going to take a zip tie, which is another thing I use, or you can use pipe cleaners. So what you're going to do is in the middle of this, you're going to zip tie where you scrunched, like that. And just nip it and push it under. Okay? You're going to go all the way around and do that to the bottom piece. So let me show you. I've done that to my bottom piece all the way around in the middle of these. Okay, now to get started, what you want to do is you want to take one side of one, those that you push together like this. You take one side here and you take one side from here and you meet them at the top, overlap them a little bit, and then scrunch them. Okay, and sometimes to get rid of this, I just take my scissors and cut that fray off. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, and don't worry because mesh is very forgiving. So these are going to get zip tied to the middle part. So these, the bottom pieces get zip tied to the middle part here, right in the middle. So you're going to take this and put it here and zip tie this. And then nip it. Then you're going to go all the way around, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take this one and this next one and scrunch it together. And zip tie it to the next piece, or the next middle part. Gotta have tiny fingers to do this. That's why I use my, pull it tight, nip it, and try to push it back a little. Okay, so once you're done doing that, don't worry about fluffing it yet because you've still got to do the top pieces. The top pieces, you do the same thing, but you're going to do the opposite. Now, one word of advice, it's easier when you're zip tying if you do make these a little bit longer. So I just found out because I think I made my bottoms a little shorter than 20 inches, and it doesn't give you much to, zip, a lot to work with, but it works out. So, like I said, I was going to use the shorter ones for the top piece, which you could use either. So again, you cut it at your 20 inches and you gather it in the middle. And you do the same thing, but you're going to do the opposite. You're going to do them up here. So you're going to start them up here. And you're going to do this all the way around. This wasn't my original idea. I think I saw this last year on somebody's YouTube page. I can't remember who. But then I took this idea and I made a Santa Claus out of this idea. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to take one of the opposite one and the one sitting next to it from the next zip tie. You're going to overlap them, and then you're going to scrunch them together. Then you're going to actually zip tie them to the corner here. So each corner. And it does get a little messy in here, but the mesh is very forgiving. And if you apply heat to it, not too much heat because it'll melt. But if you apply heat to it, you can work with it better. In fact, sometimes I iron mine just because they're in rolls and they do this. I actually ironed this little one and they roll up and it drives me nuts. So you're just going to go around and do this to each of them. Okay, and one more. This one's kind of short. I'm not sure what happened there. It's okay. I'm going to tuck that one under. And then you should have one more corner and zip tie that. Sorry. I tend to pull things close to me as I'm doing them. Okay. Done. Alright. Thank you for waiting for all that. So now you're just going to go, so once you have this done, you can go around and just fluff up your snowman. Try to overlap some of them. You can cut your little strings, I call them, off, if you have any. I happen to have a lot this time, not sure why. So you just fluff that up, and then you find where you want the front to be, where you want to put your buttons. So these two spikes are going to help hold this in here. But what I like to do is I like to zip tie it. So I then get a longer zip tie, and I put it through, which I need my poker. Poker. Okay. I put it through a little more than halfway down. I just wobble it back and forth. And then I put this in here. And then we're going to stick this through here and through here. And then we're going to stick this in here. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to zip tie it in here. Get my zip tie started. This zip tie is probably overkill, but I don't have anything in between my small ones and my big ones. So just pull that. And you can nip this if you want. I mean, you could also put these on top of a Christmas tree too. Okay. So you got that in. Then your snowman. Now, in my picture I have silver hats, which what I did was I painted these white and then I re-glittered them. So the other thing I also do is I take my scribblers and I make the mouth bigger. And I take any kind of, you can use Tim Holtz, any kind of dye, and I kind of give it a little rosy cheeks. So, I don't know if this is the right color, but this I'm not going to do yet because I always tend to put my fingers in it, so I'll wait till I get them put together. So then the skewer, and you can take a full-size skewer, goes in here, in the bottom, just like that, and then it'll go through here. But what I like to do is I like to put a little hot glue on the skewer, and then push him down into the styrofoam. And you do that. Then you take a little scarf. Remember I cut this out, it's like 20 by 4 of a scarf from the Dollar Tree. And you wrap him around like this. So he looks like that. And then you take the buttons, and this you gotta be very careful. And I'll give you a tip on this. So because you're gluing onto the mesh, and you don't want, they don't stick very well. I actually pulled these off of something else because I didn't have time to paint new ones. So you're going to find where you want them to go. And then what I do is I put a little hot glue on them. And then I take my finger and I put my finger in water. And then I stick them to the mesh and I stick my finger behind. This dries the glue and doesn't burn your finger. Instead of waiting for it to dry. See? And then I think I'm just going to put one down there because you could use buttons too. And you could sew the buttons on so they would stay on better. You know, sometimes hot glue doesn't stay on as good as we want it to. Okay, so then I'm just going to take a little bit of black paint and a paintbrush. And just touch up that little piece that shows. And that's it. Okay. So we have the scarf on. Now, the arms, I go out and get a stick from the outside world. And I use them for arms. And then I either use felt or you can use this. I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. And that's what I'm going to do on this one. I put a little snowflake on his hand like he was catching a snowflake. So I'm going to add this because this is what I used on my Santas. So I'm going to add this to his little mittens. Just hot glue it all the way around. Okay, you got these cute little mittens. And then what you do with these is you take them, you find a place to insert them, and they're going to get, I usually place a little bit of hot glue in there too. So again, get zip tie, you can do hot glue, you can do, or you can do the zip ties. Or the pipe cleaners. So I'm just going to zip tie it to colors. Oh, I lost my zip tie. And then I'm going to stick some hot glue in there just to hold it a little better. And nip this thing off. And then just going to stick some hot glue in right on top there just to give it a little more strength. And I'm going to close this up. So his hand is catching snowflakes. And then his hand, I'm going to do the mitten. Now the mittens, I just cut out a pattern. I actually used my Cricut to cut out a pattern, and I'll show you what I do. I take the material and I actually pin it, because fleece is very hard to sew. Well, I think it's very hard to sew. So I take it, and I think I have some patterns. So the pattern isn't this big. I'd say they're like 2 inches by 1 inch for these snowmen. But I take the pattern and I double this, and then I pin it right here. And then I sew all the way around the paper. And then I spritz it with water and let the binder and the paper break down. And then you can rip this off. Instead of trying to rip it off dry, you might rip your stitches out. And then you can turn it inside out and stuff it. Now, my other tip for stuffing it, instead of using stuffing, all I do is the pieces that I cut off when I cut the pattern out, I just stuff them inside the glove. And that's all I do. And it works out perfectly. And then inside the glove, you're just going to put a whole bunch of hot glue and stick your stick in there. So then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Find one of those poles, or the base, and you're going to stick his arm. Make sure the thumb is up, and you're going to zip tie. Everybody, oh, my sister and my friends from New York are sending me text messages this morning of the snow they're getting in upstate New York. Since this is our first winter down here in North Carolina. I don't miss it at all. My husband used to plow for the county up there. And he retired, and we moved down here. I can't say. We've only been here since September, though. I mean, we've been here in the summer, but oh my goodness. It's very hot. Okay, so then you give it a little touch of glue. And like I said, you can use the scribbles to make the mouth bigger. The other tip I want to give you is I also use the puffy paint to put the snow on the hat. And actually I'm going to use my outdoor puffy paint. And I just take it and I put a big glob on the top, like this, and then I just pull it down. Sorry, my camera died on me, of course. Hold on, it's going to die again. Boy, that battery, like, got sucked up real fast. Okay, so where were we? I was adding snow. So, like I said, you just put wherever you want the snow. You put the big glob on, and then you pull it down. I just take the tip and pull it down. bit. And okay, so then you have the hat that looks like that. I'm going to go in and do the mouth so it dries. And that's your snowman. So thanks everybody for watching.